event this evening, but
Okay.
at 2 I couldn't be there, and then it got pushed back, and I should just be there. But
Yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, well, welcome to House Energy and Digital Infrastructure. I'm Kathleen James from Manchester.
Scott Campbell from St. Johnbury.
Richard Bailey from LaBoyle 2.
Michael Southworth, Caledonia 2.
Christopher Howland, Rutland 4.
Darren Torrey, Washington
2.
2. Graham Klempner, Chittenden 13.
All right.
Burlington. Thank you.
All righty. Peter, thanks for joining us.
sure.
For the record.
For the record, Peter Walk, Managing Director of Efficiency Vermont. Lovely to be here with you. I do not have my mug with me. Sorry.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, I clearly need to work on my game here. I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I would love to share my screen. I just have a few slides about sort of the history of the issue you're working on and how we've come to address it over the course of time. But of course, I'm not very good with the Teams and PowerPoint interface. I just sent a request to be able to share my screen.
Okay.
So let me see if that works now. There we go. Perfect. All right. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Great. The joys of having multiple screens and the challenges of them are the same. I just want to make sure I can see all of you all. Okay. Again, my name is Peter Walk. I'm the Managing Director of Efficiency Vermont. I am really excited to be here to talk to you about a really important topic and one that you're wrestling with in the form of S219. I want to give a bit of a history discussion about sort of the challenges of meeting Vermonters on their respective journey, especially for low and moderate income Vermonters who we know are struggling against the affordability of their energy costs right now and have been, and programs have often left them behind along the way. So a little bit of history, a little bit of current state, what other states are doing, what we see as risks and opportunities, and then some final thoughts. So we regularly query the customers in Vermont, both business and residential customers. And often we do that as part of both regular surveys to understand whether our programs are meeting the mark, and as part of the demand resources planning process, the 3-year performance plan that we undertake every 3 years, and we try to get feedback on what programs look like. And as you've probably heard already in this committee, the primary barrier is money for projects. We talked about this a little bit the other day with the CPACE conversation, but very similar on the residential side. Over 57% named the cost of a project as the #1 barrier. So the opportunity to help them with incentives to address potential financing gaps, to find creative ways to fill the solutions is job one. The second most is people don't know where to start or how to move forward, whether or not that be finding the right contractor or knowing which of the several things identified on an energy audit might be the most important. It's a great opportunity for me to plug at 4 o'clock. We'll be just around the corner with a bunch of contractors from the Efficiency Excellence Network talking about what they're seeing in the field. I would highly encourage you all to go and meet the folks from your area. We'll be there kind of helping to sort of bridge the policy and on the ground reality in the State House cafeteria shortly. But that really does speak to the sort of primary challenges we see, right? I don't have the funds to be able to take this on, and even if I did, I don't know where to start. And so that's where a lot of the conversation around how do we help support people support projects move projects from understanding that there's an opportunity, right? That's sort of getting motivated and collecting information to making a decision to move forward and taking action on that process. Along the way, there are a number of steps in that journey that folks are looking to support for. Understanding what technology might be best, what opportunities exist within their home or a potential rental situation, which is often one of the challenges we face. Understanding, fact from fiction in terms of the available information that's out there, and really helping folks get to the point where they can understand what opportunities they have, what kind of support exists, and who might be able to help them do the work on a project. And so there's a lot in it in terms of what we are working with folks to sort of work on that customer journey. How do we get folks from the idea of, I want to save money on my energy bills, to a position where they are actually doing so? That takes the form of many different people intervening along the way, many different sources of information, and lots of them can be different leads along the way until we start to get to the point where we're really talking about what are the technical skills necessary and what's the technical advice necessary to be able to do a specific project. So I wanted to also this is not the first time we've been talking about sort of the energy navigation concept. It's one that has been coming about for a while. In part, that Efficiency Vermont was created to provide that sort of third-party, unbiased research and resource to folks. In 2007, we began working with the weatherization agencies through energy coaches. So that folks who are in there for a weatherization project could then also have the opportunity to work with EVT to support electric and thermal gains in their home. And that's been a great and really successful program. The energy coaches are well trained and work on this every day. And oh, by the way, we know that, especially for low-income Vermonters, the community action agencies are often the first door people are walking through, whether that be for weatherization or for some other form of assistance. The community action agencies are in charge of providing on behalf of the state. And so that's a great intro point for anybody who can benefit from those assistance. And we make sure that they see a seamless outcome from that, because the weatherization agencies can't do some of the electric efficiency and thermal efficiency work that we can help support, but why not do it at the same time? In 2018, we started doing home energy visits, and beginning with the pandemic, we switched those to be virtual home energy visits. You can have a BPI trained, Building Performance Institute trained energy consultant meet with you through your smartphone and walk around your house and see what opportunities you have to achieve energy savings across the board. It's been very popular because people like the idea of not having to have somebody transfer on their home. It's kind of easier to schedule. We've gotten very used to doing things virtually. And we've seen lots of great opportunities there for the uptake in various pieces. And then beginning in 2022, as a result of a prior study created to look at the needs around energy savings and coaching, the Green Saving Smart program was created. That was operated through Capstone with two energy navigators as part of that process that served different parts of the state. We worked very closely with them. We provided funding, we provided training, we helped folks along. Unfortunately, that program ran out of funding just in March of this year, and so is no longer. But we did go through an extensive process of reviewing what the needs were out there, and that's where Green Saving Smart came from. And so as you think about what comes next, it's always important to remember what came before and what opportunities we have to to address some of the underlying functions. And then you've heard from the folks at CX. That's when they got their launch going and began serving Addison County residents through grant funds. So lots of good work happening. The bottom part of the chart shows the work both from the WAPs, from Burlington Electric, Efficiency Vermont, Vermont Gas, 3 Thermal, the 6th WAP, and the electric utilities beginning with the Tier 3 program. All of us teaming together to help Vermonters be able to move things forward.
We've got some questions, I think, Peter.
Please, sorry, I can't see you closely enough to know.
That's okay. I just wanted to make sure I'm understanding the different programs. So the WAP-based energy coaches, that is up and running, and that would be serving eligible low-income customers across the whole state through their capstone through. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? I'm sorry.
Sure. They reside at each of the weatherization agencies.
Yeah. Okay.
And they're partially funded through Efficiency Vermont. And what we support is them working with the weatherization clients to be able to go further than they would just through a weatherization project alone. Whether that be an out-of-date refrigerator or another new appliance, or the potential for some thermal savings elsewhere. We leverage the resources that we can bring to bear to take the WAP-led weatherization further.
Okay, so that's Vermonters who are eligible for weatherization through one of the WAP agencies, and this is like a supplemental or kind of a booster coaching service for if they're going to be weatherizing.
Yes, and
Okay.
given that we know that lots of the folks who are coming through WAPs are also going to the community action agencies for other economic services and other things, then it's a great kind of entry point, a trusted entry point into the process, which is really the key in terms of building that trust and rapport and then helping a client along the journey.
Okay, so that's a statewide program. And then the home energy visits, that's available to anybody, just kind of by appointment?
Yep, you can go online and schedule your appointment, and our team of energy consultants will walk you through the opportunities you have and see what next steps might make sense for you, and kind of use that sort of third party unbiased position that we hold to help to be an advisor in that process.
And what's the demand there? I memean, is there a wait list? Is it easy to get an appointment? How many people do it?
So last year, 2025, we did 778.
Okay. And how long does the appointment last? Like,
I think they generally last about 90 minutes from what I understand. Having not done one myself. But it kind of depends on the complexity of your home and the conversations that you might want to have, the questions that you have in your home. So they're good and meaty, intentionally so that folks don't miss opportunities.
okay. And then, sorry, one more question about that. Is there any kind of follow-up, or do you, like, if I were to schedule one of these appointments, would I just kind of, have that conversation and take notes, and then I would be informed?
So that is one of the challenges in the way in which you all have set up programs like ours, is back when Efficiency Vermont was founded, you asked us to support the existing contractor network and help elevate them and bring them more business, which we are very supportive of, and we're doing in the next room. So we help direct people to our Find a Pro tool so that they can search up a weatherization contractor or a heat pump contractor who serves their area and that gives them the list of opportunities, but we don't do a direct handoff to a contractor because that would create a sort of unfairness in the marketplace.
Okay, gotcha. All right, thank you. Scott.
Sorry.
That's all right, you go ahead.
No, please, Representative Campbell.
Well, I was just gonna ask, I don't know if you said this before, but if you did, I missed it. What's different about Green Savings Smart, about that program that's, I guess, also delivered through the WAPs? Or what?
It is no longer. It
Yeah.
really was designed to fill the need that was identified as part of, I believe it was called the Energy Savings Counseling Report. I can talk about it on the next slide a little bit, which was that need for how do we help people get from idea and concept to actual to work. And it's taken a long time to stand that up because, as you can imagine, to develop the expertise in an individual navigator, to have the training to understand how to help folks, have the connections with contractors to be able to drive the work forward, and then manage those sort of projects in that manner is a challenging role to play, and one that takes a lot of time to build up. So the fact that we built up that capacity and now are sunsetting it as a state is unfortunate, because we put a lot of time into that team and really appreciated the work that they were doing.
Well, so can you contrast that with the WAP-based energy coaches? What's the difference between those two services?
I think Green Saving Smart was able to cover a wider range of income levels.
Oh, not just WAP eligible customers.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. So it would help people who aren't eligible for weatherization to conceptualize a weatherization project, perhaps a weatherization roadmap or something. Is that?
Yeah, so that they could, to take it further rather than, beyond so.
Yeah, okay, all right. Good. And how was that funded before? Where was that money from? Was it one time?
So it was a combination of funding sources. I can't, the last piece was, I think, some ARPA dollars from the state. But we've contributed some, others have as well. So yeah.
It seems like an important program. It's sort of it's sort of what 3D Thermal does for owners of affordable apartment housing, but it would be available to homeowners and others, right?
Yep. So yeah, so as you think about it, I mean, I'm always wary to sort of build something new when we have models that we've tried and stopped funding. So we'll worry that. I did want to anchor on the point there's been a lot of discussion around the idea of there are hundreds of programs that serve low and moderate income Vermonters. And I think that's true, but I think it's also important to remember that while there are different programs, the point of entry for each of those individuals to those programs is much smaller than that. So if you live in Washington Electric territory, for example, you might go through Washington Electric for any of their number of programs. There are 48 different electric utility programs. You might come to us for the 35 programs that we run. You wouldn't go to VGS because they're running their 11 programs and you're not in VGS territory. And then there are a bunch of state run programs, some of which are no longer active, again, you should be going in direct contact to the state. So it really is a smaller universe of points of entry to access programs than 100 different scattered programs around the state. So I wanted to anchor there a little bit. Also wanted to talk about the fact that part of the challenge that I see in the marketplace and for folks looking to do projects isn't that the programs are intentionally not meeting their need. It's a lot of times the programs are set up to not be as able to meet their needs. I used the contractor example before. Sometimes one of the things that we've heard is a desire to know who they should call and to have help with the management of that work. That is not something that we take on, and I think it's in some ways a disservice, but it's also part of the way you've asked us to work. There are contractors who are doing more of an overall sort of general contracting project management role. Folks like Heat Squad, who help manage subcontractors along the way as well, similar to what 3 Thermal is doing. That model tends to be the thing that really helps people get past the sort of, I have an idea, but I haven't yet acted on it. And so to my mind, we need to be careful about how we think about what is holding people back and what's in the way. If the program outcomes, if the metrics of success don't align with current needs, then we should be thinking about what those metrics of success are, rather than creating another layer of things to be able to help people. And so that's what ends up being a little bit troubling to me. You've asked us to be as cost effective as possible, and helping serve low and moderate income Vermonters is oftentimes more expensive, and therefore reduces the overall sort of cost effectiveness of our portfolio. So every dollar we spend there has to get made up for somewhere else in lower resource acquisition cost work. And so if we really wanted to be serious about low and moderate income energy transitions, we'd be thinking about it from aligning the whole system to be delivering those outcomes, rather than trying to create another layer that folks have to navigate through.
Okay, makes sense.
The little where I mentioned the energy savings counseling report pursuant to Act 74 of 2021. That is going on, and then going on now is the energy burden investigation that the PUC is doing, and that's part of what you heard from the Department of Public Service about in terms of their report that they are doing as part of that work. And then I think you've also heard about the Energy Action Network's energy navigation working group, network action team that is working to address to gaps in the system and opportunities as well. So you got lots of existing work going on. And so I think you're all aware of that, but the energy savings counseling report may not be something that you've been tracking the results of, but that is the report that said, we should start green saving smart. I don't think a lot has changed since 2021 in terms of the needs from that report. All right. And then I think you've heard a little bit about what's been happening in other states, but each has taken a slightly different approach. I will leave this with you, but I think it's interesting to note our Maine and Massachusetts colleagues are taking different approaches. And then the parent company for Efficiency Vermont, or the company that operates Efficiency Vermont, VEIC, is helping the other New England states do the New England Heat Pump Accelerator Program, which is mimicking the work we do here in Vermont to advance heat pump technology, and helping the greatest acronym of all time, the Denver Regional Council of Governments, that is known as Dr. Cog, has started the PACO program, the Powerhead Colorado, which is again trying to get heat pumps into homes in the greater Denver area, and doing it with an intense focus on low and moderate income work. So a little bit of background. I'm not going to spend too long here. You'll have the slides, which I will send to the committee assistant momentarily, but just wanted to share that with you. And then, so here's where we are from a current state perspective. This is the sort of breakdown of who's served by which parts, of the system, their locations, that's geographic limitations or technical assistance limitations. We're all doing language translation. Vermont Gas and EVT are working through the home energy assessment piece. Lots of incentives. The weatherization agencies don't do the utility bill evaluation because that's not really their role. But the help in getting funding and really working that through. And then where VGS and the weatherization agencies stand out is in that contractor and project management work. Just a little breakdown of what that looks like for folks. And then I think we've talked about this program a little bit, but this is a great example that was started as a pilot through the Energy Efficiency Modernization Act work and has continued, and we'll plan to continue as part of our next performance period under our regulated work, whereby somebody who has just completed the weatherization project through the weatherization agencies gets a phone call from Efficiency Vermont, and we help them identify an opportunity to move forward with a heat pump addition to their home. And what that does is do the perfect pathway we've all been talking about, right? Weatherization first, and then fuel transition where it makes sense. This is essentially the easy button for low income Vermonters who can simply say yes, and then we work through the contractor process to get that work done. It's been a great program. It's been challenging at times to run. It runs in conjunction with both the WAPs and the electric utilities who've contributed tier 3 money as well. We've worked to do electric panel upgrades and other things to make it possible to put heat pumps in people's homes. It's been incredibly effective at shortening that timeline from idea to full weatherization and energy transition. And so that's been a great example of something that's happening. Again, the collaboration is key. We want to make sure that everybody who's getting information out there in the world is getting good information and information that they can act upon. The risk of bad or outdated or other information or technically inaccurate is really challenging. And so we want to make sure that we are helping folks get the best information out there, which is why we work closely with the volunteer-led energy navigation programs through monthly calls and trainings, ongoing program updates, helping to address questions as they come up from customers where a volunteer navigator might not be able to provide the level of detail necessary. And it's a lot of like navigating the navigators, right? Helping folks understand how to work together and how to learn more from each other and be able to keep their information up to date. As you think about your next steps, I think the sort of whether or not S219 moves forward or not, the collaboration will continue to exist and continue to evolve as Vermonters needs, as program needs, as climate and energy affordability needs evolve. We will continue to be there every step of the way. There is an opportunity to improve the overall performance of energy program navigation and the customer experience, without a doubt, right? But it's not as simple in my mind as a layering of a new activity over top. It's the opportunity to look at how do we help people come through one door and access all of the available incentives, right? If you came through Green Mountain Power Store or WEX Store or somebody else, how does that feed you into the customer experience where you would automatically understand whether or not you are the Efficiency Vermont or other rebates were available to you? That would be an ideal situation. And then, the ability to sort of pre-qualify folks along the way. And as you're moving forward, or as you're thinking about this bill, my final thoughts for you are these: please be thoughtful and careful when dealing with people's homes, particularly for our most vulnerable residents. we need to prioritize the health, safety, and customer experience and make sure that the customer choice is huge in that. Many low-income Vermonters are less driven by a desire to act on climate and more on their ability, their desire to save money and be able to keep their homes warm. And so that we need to keep those front and center and make sure that we're giving them the best information possible. And then final thing I'll say is that, as I mentioned, there are lots of programs out there. That is the easier thing to do in many ways, is to create new programs. But what we should be thinking about is how to align those programs to be able to drive to shared outcomes. So I would love to see that work happen. I read the letter of the bill as suggesting an outcome that presupposes the results of an evaluation. And I think it's not a recommendation that I would make to pursue a program design for energy navigation services without really understanding the state of play, what opportunities there are to have better alignment, and how we're going to address the sort of training and information barriers that stand in the way of doing this work really effectively. So that ultimately the customer experience and their ability to move through that decision-making process leading to action is as complete and as short as possible and saves them the most amount of money. All right, I've been talking at you for a long time and I apologize for that. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. I'm going to take my slides down if that's okay.
All right.
Do you have those slides, by the way?
You will momentarily.
Okay.
Thanks, Peter. So I wanted to hear a little bit more about the training. We talked a little bit to the folks from SEAC about the training that they do. And you said that you also work closely with them, because I do agree it's really important that the energy coaches or navigators be, carefully trained. And I think they said that they do some training with a national group called maybe Rewiring America or something. Are you familiar with that?
I am, and I think Rewiring America is doing a really good work, primarily trying to drive sort of electrification across the country. They were huge advocates for the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act and the associated support through that. From my perspective, the 4-hour virtual training that Rewire America provides isn't the same thing as being BPI certified and the ability to speak technically on the issues at hand. And so yes, training at any level is important, but it's important that we think about what we actually are hoping for Vermonters to be able to come away with confidence in their answers and to be able to be supported through that process.
Your folks who do the virtual appointments, what's their training?
They are BPI certified. They are engineers by training.
Okay, so if I call Efficiency Vermont and sign up for one of the virtual, walk through my home appointments.
You wouldn't get me. You'd get somebody much smarter than me.
Okay. Other questions for Peter? All right. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Of course. And I hope to see you all shortly in the cafeteria. Wink,
Right.
Hint, hint.
You better hurry.
All right. See you all soon.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right, folks. So we are back tomorrow at 9.